This hearing is now, not hearing, this markup and this meeting of the Subcommittee on Europe, Eurasia, and Emerging Threats will come to order. And right off the bat, I ask for unanimous consent that Mr. Gus Bilirakis be recognized to briefly explain his resolution, which we will be marking up. That's H Resolution 188. And without objection, so ordered. Mr. Bilirakis, you
Thank you
have
so
been
much.
an active, aggressive member of the Foreign Affairs Committee and a member of Congress respected for your opinions. Now, we know that you have no bias when it comes to anything to do with Greece. Now, we know that
Well, this is an issue for the whole world, Mr.
All
Chairman.
right.
I appreciate that.
Based
300
on-
million Orthodox Christians, and I really appreciate you agendaing this bill. I really do.
based
And,
on principle, as all of your decisions are.
Absolutely.
And you may proceed with discussing with us what H Resolution 188 is all about.
Thanks so much, sir. I really appreciate it. Very shortly, members, this subcommittee will have an opportunity to pass H.R. 188, which calls upon the government of Turkey to facilitate the reopening of the Ecumenical Patriarchate's Theological School of Halki without condition or further delay. I urge you to support this measure just as you did unanimously last year when it passed out of the full committee. This resolution is significant to all Eastern Orthodox Christians, folks who live in our districts, because of its importance to making sure the very essence of the church survives. The Theological School of Halki, founded in 1844 and located outside of Istanbul, Turkey, served as the principal seminary for the Ecumenical Patriarchate until its closure by the Turkish authorities in 1971. In addition to countless priests and bishops, the seminary has trained 19 patriarchs, including our current Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew. The aging population and dwindling numbers of the Orthodox clergy in Istanbul, combined with the Turkish law which requires the Ecumenical Patriarch to be a Turkish citizen, almost assures the end of the succession process for a spiritual leader. So you can see why Halki and the Ecumenical Patriarchate is so essential to Eastern Orthodox Christians. It is the spiritual home of the world's oldest and second largest Christian church. Essentially, it is the Orthodox Christians, to Orthodox Christians what the Vatican is to Catholics, Mr. Chairman. More than 300 million Orthodox Christians around the world and millions of Orthodox Christians in the United States are certain to find hope in this subcommittee's approval of H.R. 188. Knowing that the 2,000-year-old sacred see of the Ecumenical Patriarchate will be also able, it will be able to teach future religious leaders for generations. This closure has been an issue of concern for the American people, members of Congress, and multiple presidential administrations. Mr. Chairman, while Orthodox Christians and friends of religious freedom have appreciated over the past decade encouraging signs from the government of Turkey related to the impending opening of the seminary, the deal has not been done yet. The deal has not been closed. This resolution simply encourages Turkey to take that last affirmative step. I can go on, Mr. Chairman, but I know you get my drift. Will you permit me to go on for 30 more seconds?
You go right ahead.
All right, very good. In the mid-18, I know where you are, and I know you've co-sponsored the bill, and I really appreciate it very much. And members, it would mean the world to the Orthodox community in the United States, but throughout the world, if we were to pass this in the subcommittee and ultimately on the floor of the House of Representatives. Thank you very much, and I yield back.
All right, and we have with us also, of course, the ranking member, Mr. Keating. Do you have an opening statement?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Over the years, Greece and Turkey have made great strides in improving their economic and political ties through increased exchanges, dialogue, and business opportunities. These steps not only benefit the relations between the two countries, but also in the development and stability of the wider region of Southeast Europe and the Eastern Mediterranean. This region is also uniquely situated and draws in visitors from all over the world who not only want to experience the picturesque landscapes but visit the diversity of culture and the historical sites. For this reason, the increased benefits of measures to promote diversity are well recognized. I believe Prime Minister Erdogan understood this well when he and several of his ministers vowed to reopen the Halki Seminary in Turkey. The Halki Seminary is the main theological school of Eastern Orthodox Christianity, and it was shut down in 1971. The Justice and Development Party raised the hopes of Orthodox Christians all around the world when they announced that they would reopen the seminary, and a proposed democratization package seemed to be an appropriate channel for this change. Many were, however, surprised to see that the reopening of Halki was not included under the provisions of this package when it was announced. Since then, Prime Minister Erdogan's rhetoric on Halki has taken a turn, and conditions and reciprocity demands are now attached to the reopening of the school. I fear that this type of rhetoric threatens to undo much of the progress that's been made in Turkey, and further, it may have a negative impact of dividing Turks and stalling long-awaited progress on the issues of Halki, as well as other issues concerning Turkish minority groups. I recognize that Turkey has come a long way, but hope that this is not now, that they're not willing, that they are willing to make this final push for Halki. I don't think it's too late. I hope that the Prime Minister will reconsider his newfound position on Halki and encourage the long advocated rights for all Turks within the Turkish Republic. As I said earlier, this is not just important for Turkey, it's important for the region as a whole. And with that, I yield back, Mr. Chairman, and thank you.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Holderton, do you have a statement that you'd like to make at this point?
Mr. Chairman, I'll submit one for the record.
All right, and I take that from my other colleagues as well. Let me just begin by saying that we are very grateful to Congressman Bilirakis for his leadership on issues like this. His expertise and his attention that he has paid to this part of the world is a great asset to the Congress. And just as a fine example of what we need to pay attention, because sending a message today, which is what we're doing, sending a message to Turkey today to make sure that they send us a message back about the way they're going to be dealing with their part of the world is vitally important for us to understand. And their message, our message to them is that, yes, we're concerned that the Turkish government not be molded after other governments that have a certain tie to the Islamic faith. And in other governments that have a radical commitment to Islam and promoting Islam, we have found that that type of government turns an anti-Western approach is a threat to our well-being. And at the same time, we know that we need models in the Islamic world of moderation and of, yes, pro-Western sentiment. And that's what we have in Turkey today, a country that is obviously a country where the vast majority of its population is Islamic, but we're asking them to send us a message today, send the rest of the world a message today that they do respect. Yes, they respect and they identify with Islam, but they respect human rights. They respect the religious convictions of others. And nowhere would Turkey be able to not only say that, but to demonstrate it to the world that they are indeed respectful and are not going to go this other direction of repression of other faiths in the name of the majority faith of that country. There's no better message they could send to us and reaffirming their ties with the West than the seminary at Halki and making sure that that was open and shown as an example of the positive intent of the Turkish government and the Turkish people. Turkey is an important historical ally, and having been a key NATO member for decades, it has, for example, played a huge role in the Cold War. And had it not been for the support of the Turkish government and people, the Cold War would have turned out in a totally different way, and this would be a different world, a worse world without that. But despite their initial lack, and of course we've had some problems, despite their initial lack of assistance at the beginning of the Iraq War, which many of us noted that, which may have saved some United States lives, some of our troops that were engaged in Iraq and that part of the world, and of course basing their overflight access to and regulating that. That is something that we've had to pay close attention to as well recently, and this is they're permitting us these overflights have been critical to the safety and security of American troops operating in that region, just as I might say, unfortunately, their opposition in the beginning in terms of not allowing us in the beginning of the Iraq War to base our operations, some of them out of Turkey, was detrimental to that effort. So I come to this discussion realizing that Turkey is a free and independent country, a proud country, and they will make determinations which reflect their values and reflect their long-term goals, and as they should. But now we're hoping that they'll send us a signal today that don't worry, we are really your friends and friends of the West. I say that, I hope this will spur some action on their part, because I come to this discussion as a friend and admirer of Turkey. And I say that personally, and I know that probably reflects some of my colleagues as well. Turkey's recent decision, however, to buy, for example, Chinese long-range anti-missiles, this anti-missile system, does trouble me. We do have American companies that were available who actually sell other weapon systems, anti-missile weapon systems. And I reminded the Turkish foreign minister just yesterday that it might have been better for Turkey to buy the anti-missile system from the United States, because it was our technology that was probably stolen by the Chinese that are now being sold to them by Chinese companies. Well, the resolution before us today is not, we're going to have agreements and disagreements with every free country in the world. And this resolution today is not aimed at what some people would have us do, just taking a gratuitous slap in the face of Turkey. And I have seen that far too often in the last 25 years that I've been here, that people want to just hurt Turkey, and that's you're going to show you're a good person, and you're allied with us if you hurt Turkey. Well, the bottom line today, that's not what this is all about. This is actually a way that if the Turks send us this message, agree with what we're asking them to do, which is nothing more than to fulfill an agreement they've already made and to respect the rights of the Greek people and actually show a respect for those religious beliefs, just as we'd have the Greek people respect the beliefs of the Turkish people, that this is a way that we could basically make some real points that were meaningful in a very easy and quick way. So we're not asking, this isn't a cheap shot, this isn't criticism, this is a request in a very dignified way. And I want to thank Congressman Bill Arrakis for crafting this so well that this will be seen as a respectful request of Turkey, and not just condemning them for something that we think is not right at this moment. And so there's no better way for the Turks to send us and to send all of the Western world a message, a positive message, than to reopen this theological school at Halki. Long before the introduction of Islam to Turkey, Islam in Turkey Turkey was the outpost of Christianity. It's very, and what we're talking about is an historic site in that whole history of the region, tied to ancient Constantinople. The school has a history that spans 17 centuries, representing the Orthodox Church and linking the Christian and Muslim worlds. What a better example they could have to us of a commitment of a peaceful transition point. They could be the actual bridge, which is what Turkey has always been, just by giving us this sign today about reopening this theological school. The reopening of this school has been endorsed by previous Congresses, the European Court of Human Rights, and even the Turkish Prime Minister at one point has endorsed this 4 years ago. Turkey's long tradition of tolerance and peace between the religions should be maintained and preserved and basically demonstrated for us in opening up this theological school that is so important to their neighbors. And so I would ask my colleagues to join me today in supporting this resolution, and if hopefully, if you could inform my staff, become a co-sponsor, if you are not already a co-sponsor, on this bill. So as we move forward, at that point, is there anyone else with a opening statement? If not, does anyone have any amendments to offer? Anyone have any amendments to offer? The bill is before us, and let's see now. I'll make sure that I call up for H Resolution 188, calling upon the government of Turkey to facilitate the reopening of the Ecumenical Technological or Theological School at Halki without condition or further delay. And without objection, this measure will be considered as read and open for amendment. And as I have stated, there will be, we've already seen there are no amendments. So I now recognize the ranking member for his remarks and would you like us to proceed with a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, let's proceed with the motion right now.
All right. So, let me see, it goes on, agree. So, all of those who agree with H Resolution 188, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And let the record note that Mr. Lowenthal said aye. Aye. Aye, all right. All right. And all those opposed? All those opposed? I hear no opposition. So the resolution passes. And without objection, H Resolution 188, as amended, is ordered to be favorably reported to the full committee and the staff as directed to make any technical and conforming changes. Unless someone else has any other business, we are now adjourned.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to make an announcement. First of all, thank you so very much for being so fair and working with me on this bill. And this is very brief, but we will have a briefing on the Theological School at Halki tomorrow from 2 to 3 p.m. here in the Rayburn building on 2325. I guess it's this floor. And the Archbishop Demetrios from New York, who represents the United States and Central America, will be there, as well as the head of the Archon. So we welcome everyone, members and staff. Thank you very much again.
So
I really
noted.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr.
On behalf of the Orthodox community. Thank you.